Ernest Scared Stupid.
One of my favorite Halloween movies. It's like my comfort food.
Yeah. Well, because it's got like the horror elements, but they're cute and safe, you know?
Cute and safe, and it has great practical effects. The character of Ernest, I just love that character.
That was kind of the part of this I enjoyed the most, was to just kind of like revisit Jim Varney and his Ernest world. And like, it's been a really long time since I experienced any of this stuff. And, you know, I was just kind of like reading up, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right, he died in like 2000 or something.
He did.
I remember that, but it kind of like, you know, I'd forgotten it, you know?
I thought he had died like within the last like 5 years. And I thought he had a bigger
He was
career.
young. He was young.
50.
He was like, yeah, 50. Yeah. That's like my new way of torturing myself. It's like I watch something and then I'm like, oh, is this old ass motherfucker younger than me? You know, that's what I look, and then I look up the date to see, you know. So like it was like I played that with Pulp Fiction. I was watching Pulp Fiction, and I'm like, okay, when Pulp Fiction came out, John Travolta seemed
so
like
old.
Methuselah. You know, he was just, you know, and I'm looking it up, and it's like
How
John
old was he
Travolta,
in
40.
40 in that?
It seemed like Bruce Willis was like, you know, put out to pasture,
Finish
way past
him.
his prime, and then I look at, he's 39, you know. You think of Bruce Willis in Pulp Fiction, don't you think of like, oh, there's that guy who used to be, you know.
I gotta bring back some 90s styles of t-shirts tucked into jeans with belts.
Yeah, that suede jacket.
Suede jacket.
Yeah, because like I was watching it, and I was like, you know what, John Travolta and Bruce Willis, they don't look too bad. Like they you know, like at the time, it felt like, hey, you know, he's no Vinnie Barbarino. You know, like he's not in Staying Alive shape.
They don't look too bad for Ogden and Jerry.
But meanwhile, it's like you look at the age, and it's like, oh, okay, like these are young bucks.
I might as well be the crypt keeper.
Yeah, but like, so I did the same thing with Jim Varney, seeing like how old he was when he was doing Ernest stuff, and it's like, yeah, yikes. Yeah. He's like real skinny and stuff.
He's
so,
kind
like,
of a stud.
Yeah, you see well, it is funny when you see pictures of him in like his cool clothes.
Yeah,
because yeah, he is this like yokel. Like for me, the Ernest stuff, like it was like that era of like you had like Pee Wee Herman,
yes,
and Ed Grimley, and so you'd have these like almost like semi-clowns. It would be these guys in these like over-the-top characters that kind of became breakouts, and Ernest was like one of those. I feel like Jim Carrey, even though he didn't have like a sort of single character the way those guys did, he's kind of like the ultimate expression of that like 80s trend. But yeah, Jim Varney was like a solidly one, and I was like the right age to be like, okay, here's this goofball making crazy faces and doing voices.
A couple things. They need more of those. Like we need another Pee Wee and Elvira.
Yeah,
like a specific like character.
You're right. And the Sprite commercials. He was on the Sprite. Hey Vern, and he's like Lemon. He was explaining lime, and he's like Lemon. Hey Vern.
The first time I saw Ernest was Ernest Goes to Camp. I've seen all the Ernest movies in the theater up till, and I kind of saw him in the commercials because he was the guy that directed this actually created the Ernest character.
Now, so Jim Varney didn't create the character, like he originated embodied the character, but he didn't like write it.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it was created by the director was part of an ad agency. Okay, and he was created for like commercial.
Yeah, I think it was created for like a local commercial or something.
Yeah, like Alabama or something.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like Pee Wee Herman, Ed Grimley and stuff, they're a little more like, I don't know, sophisticated. Ernest is like down home. He's like the southern, like good old boy version of
and he like in these Ernest movies, I think Jim Varney was like a stand-up comic too. Yeah. And he's also a Shakespearean actor.
Right, you see some of that, because he has, like, his master thespian kind of character. Like, I do enjoy, they have, like, the little, you know, thing where he's his different characters. And then he plays, like, Julius Caesar or something.
Yes!
Also, like, I feel like Larry the Cable Guy probably owes some, like, royalty checks to Jim Varney's estate.
But some of the characters he does were from Ernest's act.
You know,
Jim Varney.
Get Her Done is not too far off from Hey
Vern. Because Vern's here too.
Yeah. Hey.
Know what I mean, Vern?
Jim Varney died, but Vern is still alive and well, and he's in the Total Recall studio.
Yeah, it's so great.
Lemon.
middle school when I would just do Ernest like when he does the
yeah, when he's because when he's like plunging out the toilet in Ernest Goes to Camp, and then there's all shit everywhere, and he's like ew. Like these characters were like real popular with kids like our age.
Definitely. Because
you could imitate them. So you could do the Pee Wee Herman, you could do the Ed Grimley, you could do the Hey Vern, you know. And so I watched him on the commercials and was like, you know, on board with
Love
that.
it.
And then he got a Saturday morning TV
yes,
show with
I
live
watched
action.
that. It's Hey Vern, it's Ernest.
Hey Vern, it's Ernest, and he had all these characters. He had this one character where he was like an alien, and he had this costume, and he put his like hand behind his head. Yeah, I would do that too. And I remember I was like, you know, watching that show one day, and then my mom was like, "This seems like something you'd be into."
We watched Hey Vern, it's Ernest, and look at these special effects, by the way. Dripping wet. There was that movie Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and some of the like puppet designs were like holdovers from that movie.
Okay, so this troll that was like a killer clown from outer space. They just like spray painted him like paint or whatever.
Like this one is like that's just like the main villain, but there's later in the movie more trolls emerge, and I think you see some of that design there.
Okay, so this main troll is not from Killer Clowns, or he is?
I'm not positive.
Okay, because the two noses, like, was there a killer clown with two noses? Because he's kind of got two noses, wet rubber puppets, and this kind of has that too.
So with this troll, his thing is like he sucks like the energy from like these like his victims and turns them into like wooden statues.
Yeah. Which feels like it's from some kind of like folklore or mythology or something.
Yeah.
I like the beginning, the prologue, where it's like Ernest's great grandfather, and again he's like very like Shakespearean, very proper,
playing himself. The previous thing was he was like suck bumper booger lips.
So there's the other guy in this. Like again, it was like jogging my memory. Like the original title we were thinking of for this channel was Total Nostalgic Recall.
Yeah,
and it was definitely like very nostalgic, revisiting this. This guy, this world, and then it reminded me. There's like the other guy who's kind of featured in this, who would be, I guess he's part of like Jim Varney's troupe or whatever.
Yes.
But he on the Saturday morning show, there'd be this recurring bit of Lonnie Don's School of Hollywood Sound Effects, and he'd always be like, each time he'd teach you how to do a different sound effect. It was like Foley work, and he's giving you like inside Hollywood things, and he'd be like, it's the sound of, a pumpkin being squashed by a wagon wheel. And then he'd be like, take the meaty part of your palm and place it firmly against your mouth, and that was like every single sound effect was that.
Was amazing.
Yeah.
I would always do the fart in the crook of my arm.
Yeah, and so I see him in this, and that, like, I'd forgotten about Lonnie Don's School of Hollywood Sound Effects.
We do some Foley work again. It's like, Tom, it's like I should have left that. I shouldn't have left that Big Mac out on the radiator before I ate it.
So it's nice seeing him in this.
I spiked.
Oh, and we got Eartha Kitt in here. But then by the time Ernest Goes to Camp came out, I was kind of like over Ernest. I kind of didn't care about, it was kind of like burnout on Ernest. He seemed like, sort of seeing the seams. I watched when he has that song, Sure Am Glad It's Raining. It's like the sad, emotional Ernest moment. Like, I'm watching it, I'm like, this is so cheesy. And then I turn around and look at my sister, and she's like, tears rolling down her face.
Jim Varney's such a good actor. Whenever the town's mad at him, he's like, oh, you like when he gets sad, like he really tugs at your heartstrings.
Yeah, he's got a very expressive face, and he hams it up. But like I like a ham. I like a good ham and
thrice baked.
The thrice baked ham. So then that was like the extent of my Ernest stuff. I never saw Ernest Goes to Jail. I never saw
it in the theater.
This, the Ernest Scared Stupid.
I saw this in the theater. My mom took me and my buddy Colin to see it at the Dollar Theater. Mm-hmm. And
Eartha Kitt.
We love Eartha Kitt.
Catwoman.
I went as him. I went as Ernest for Halloween about 10 years ago into a party.
Yeah.
Nobody knew who I was except one person was like, "Oh my God, are you dressed as Ernest?"
Yeah,
I got so excited.
I would have thought like, oh, maybe Schneider from One Day at a Time.
What? when my brothers were still trick-or-treating, I did go as Gallagher for...
Yeah, Gallagher is kind of cut from even though Gallagher is not like a character, like he seems like he's part of this lineage too. The denim, all the denim.
Love that denim
in his outfit.
Look at that wet, dripping puppet.
Yeah.
He thinks he's he's gonna turn this kid into stone. And then I love too when there's when the good guys are fighting these trolls. The troll's weakness is milk.
Okay.
And he pulls like he thinks it's Miak.
Well, this this movie is squarely aimed at kids. So like, you saw this when you were a kid. So this is like, because like the kids are like, way involved in the storyline. It's kind of like from the kids' perspective, and Ernest is kind of like a childlike character. Watching this, I kind of preferred, like, it's kind of like that like Fonzie thing or whatever. By like the third Ernest movie, it's like everybody's on his side. Like, of course the mayor and stuff all hate him, but like the kids are totally on his side. And I kind of preferred like the Ernest goes to camp thing, where like the kids hate him too. Oh, yeah. The kids are like, this fucking idiot, make him clean our shitty toilet.
Ernest goes to camp, like the Ernest saves Christmas, and then like Ernest goes to jail. You're right, the tone changes. We should cover Ernest Goes to Camp when we do our summer camp snobs versus slobs, because it has like it's more towards the meatballs.
Right, it feels more akin to sort of like 70s movies where like the kids just are like real nasty and mean and bullies, and they're bullying this sort of man child.
And then they have this amazing tree. How great are these Halloween decorations in this?
Yeah, I could see this being like when you're a kid watching this being sort of like a wish fulfillment kind of thing of like, man, you wish your school had like a Halloween party deluxe, like a popcorn maker. Ernest is a little like Gomer Pyle too.
Yes.
That turned up gas station attendant hat that Gomer Pyle wore when he was on like in Mayberry before he joined the Marine
Corps. Yeah. And he's like just has a good heart.
We are like, our show is generally positive. We try to talk about things like to celebrate and stuff. I gotta say, this is the worst thing we've ever reviewed for an episode of Total Recall. Like,
it's one of my all-time favorite things.
It's like it's shit. But I could see why you love it. But it is like, if we're on like a sliding scale or rating system, that like this is going to be tough to beat. I don't know what the next thing we see that's going to be worse than this.
I would put like, if they were like Citizen Kane, the final print is burning, or you can save that, or you can save Ernest Goes to Camp, or Ernest Scared Stupid. I'm saving Ernest Scared Stupid.
Well, I mean, it's just like, nostalgia is such a thing, and like, who knows, like maybe this is like a great movie and I'm just sort of blind to it, but like, yeah, of course you see this as a kid, you're gonna love it, and then if it becomes like a Halloween tradition, you watch it again and again. Yep. We're gonna have to do a Phantom Menace episode, because I recently revisited Phantom Menace, and I came at it thinking, because like one of my favorite things ever is Land of the Lost. Land of the Lost is kind of this famously cheesy 70s show, but I mean, I saw it, probably when I was like 2 or something. And so to me, and like I watch it now, and it's like I can see the flaws and the cheesiness in this, but that doesn't mean a thing to like all I'm able to see the brilliance of it, the imagination, the DIY, and I just, it's great. It's great. And I kind of realized, when people like who grew up with the Phantom Menace, like I was an adult by the time, I was like at least 18 by the time Phantom Menace came out. So I understand why if you saw that as a kid, it's going to blow your mind. And then when you get older, maybe you start to see the cracks in it, the seams, but you still love it because you just have that deep connection. So I kind of watched Phantom Menace through that lens, and so like I've some things I want to say about it.
We definitely got to do the prequel trilogy, all the flicks,
all of them, and I feel like, but like Phantom Menace is the strongest of the three. But yeah, and I think it's the same with it. Like I was just not. I mean, I see some of the virtues of it, and I can see why you enjoyed it, but I was just like, it wasn't doing it for me.
Oh yeah, this like, look at this guy. this does it for me.
There's the William Zabka Halloween costume. But yeah, you kind of, I mean, I could see being a kid watching this and like just seeing yourself riding through the grocery store on your bike and, you know.
And yeah, every year we watch it and it's like comfort food. It's just delicious and like, I get a good feeling. Look at like the mist coming over the hill and like...
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a comparable thing for me. Like, I mean, Land of the Lost, you know, all that Sid and Marty Krofft stuff, that, you know, H.R. Puffin stuff. I mean, because like the puppet work and the effects are you know, as good as anything Sid and Marty Krofft did. I'm trying to think though if I have like an equivalent of something that like I know is like whatever, but like I just love it, you know.
Yeah, like these other, like a lot of these other things, like we'll have to one of these days watch Killer Clowns, and you'll see some of these like things.
The main troll kind of looks like Critters.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I'm like, oh my god, Ernest is beating these trolls with his bat. And then this is great. The cops show up, and then look at the mist in the ground. And
no, they don't make them like this anymore. Like that troll swings in like Andy Serkis as Dr. Manhattan's dick.
Then he gets accosted by look at everyone.
The village people are there.
Oh, and then Ernest has there's two guys, Chuck and Bobby, and there's I think Chuck isn't in this one. It's like Tom. But it's like Chuck and Bobby are just like this two like random guys that are in like all the Ernest movies. Yeah. They play like they're something different in each movie. Like in Ernest Saves Christmas, they're like they work at the airport. Like they're like U-Haul guys or something. And then in this one, these guys like run like a convenience store kind of thing.
I was recently watching the Pee Wee Herman episode of 227 and loving every second of it, guffawing and like just remembering every line of it and stuff, even though I haven't seen it in like, you know, 20 some years. But I wonder if Ernest ever did like a guest spot on a sitcom around this, like where he shows up as Ernest, you know.
Jim Varney did do like a yokel kind of character on The Simpsons.
Okay.
He had a guest spot on The Simpsons. And since he died so young, I thought he had a bigger career.
Yeah.
Most of his career was the Ernest movies.
Yeah.
And he did Slinky Dog and Toy Story.
Right. Yeah. And so I guess I was reading that, and so I guess like Slinky Dog had a different guy doing his voice in later movies.
Yeah, it was Blake something or other. He's a guy in like Adam Sandler's like circle. He was in a bunch of Adam Sandler movies, but he was Jim Varney's friend who like picked up the mantle.
Yeah, because I didn't notice like Slinky Dog sounds a little different this time around. So.
Like he was in Toy Story 2 was his final, and also he was Jed Clampett in the Beverly Hillbillies movie from like the early 90s.
Yeah, I never checked that. I need to check that out.
That was a funny one. Dietrich Bader's in it.
Right, yeah, he plays Jethro. Dietrich Bader, like, that name is kind of close to Max Baer.
It really is. Every Halloween we watch this movie. There's a scary part.
With the animatronic face.
He's like, bring me the head of Ernest B. Worrell. Boogers coming out of these. Ew. He's got like
Billy
the
Big Mouth Bass. Yeah, it is like the Gallagher or like Pee Wee Herman prop comedy where you're just pulling out all this stuff you got at like a junk store.
Speaking of
Speedy runner on the thing.
Speaking of making things out of Quaker Oat, when I was Gallagher, I made his hammer or mallet out of a dowel rod and a Quaker Oats container. Cool. Just been trying to track down an Ernest Scared Stupid one sheet for this. Very hard to find. All I've ever seen are the video store ones that are like, they have not the credits on the front, and they have like a pull quote, like says like wacky on it. I want the theater one. You just can't find it.
From the Traveling Roadshow version with like the booklet. Oh, you know what? I bought the Flash Gordon Traveling Roadshow, like the Queen soundtrack Flash Gordon movie.
Oh, nice.
Where it's like that booklet, beautiful, like full color, glossy, with like pictures of the characters and stuff, and a little like comic section in the back.
I remember you also got. Didn't you get the Flash Gordon Atari game? Oh,
yeah.
that was juicy.
So yeah, some Ernest roadshow stuff.
I tell you what,
but when they would show an Ernest movie with an intermission.
If it's CinemaScope, if anybody has any leads on an Ernest Scared Stupid official theatrical like poster, let us know in the comments section.
Yeah. Send it to the PO box. We got the PO box listed in with all our links and whatnot. Has there been like a critical reappraisal of Ernest? Like, is this it, or has what's
I'm pretty sure this has become. I got a feeling this is like a cult classic now.
I guess especially since it's like a holiday movie, and then it saves Christmas probably too. Like, I just wonder like where he rates. Now that we've got some distance, and like what is the great. Because again, I've only seen this and Ernest Goes to Camp. What's the great Ernest movie? Like is there a hierarchy of which ones are the best? Did they get better as they went on, or did they peak with Ernest Goes to Camp?
I would say this is like the quintessential single greatest Ernest movie. And
it seems like it's in your wheelhouse.
And then Ernest Goes to Camp is at like the other end.
Okay.
It's like it makes me want to watch like with that and like Meatballs too and like. You're right. It has like a little bit of a nasty like edge to it, and then Ernest Saves Christmas and Ernest Goes to Jail are great. They're all Disney. They're touchstones, so they're like Disney's. They're
Disneyfied. I like that he spits milk at them. That's on brand though. Having them spit the milk, not just like splash it in their face. And again, like stuff that like kids would be into and try to imitate.
So much fun. And this is where he like levels up to become like Super Saiyan or whatever.
Yeah, this isn't too far off from like a Marvel movie. You could see, a version of this.
Ernest shows up in in a Marvel flick. That'd be amazing.
Because the early stuff with like his ancestor was kind of making me think of like Scarlet Witch and stuff.
Oh, nice. Look, and then Ernest does the fighter.
Yeah, he's his aviator character.
This, like I said, if they're like. Oh my God! It's some Charlie Chaplin flick is gonna burn. You gotta save it. But look over there, Ernest Scared Stupid is gonna burn. I'm like, I'm going after Ernest Scared Stupid.
You're right. It's good that you named Charlie Chaplin because talking about that like lineage, feels like Charlie Chaplin might be like the beginning of that lineage that goes all the way through. Pee Wee Herman, Ed Grimley, Ernest, Jim Carrey. Like it feels like maybe that is kind of like this movie clown or something.
I tell you, you're right too, because it's like he works as like a silent film actor.
Yeah.
Very expressive. I would put if they're like they have the greater than or less than sign. You see Chaplin and you see Ernest. I turn the greater than sign towards Ernest.
Well, I mean, like every generation has its heroes, and Chaplin is Chaplin. It belongs to one era, and Ernest belongs to another.
Look at this.
Milk. Does anybody say it does a body good?
I think they might.
Yeah.
There's Chuck and Bobby.
The Milk Council, the National Dairy Council, is one of the underwriters of this.
Oh yeah, these guys were trying to sell. That reminded me of another flick we just watched. Nope. They were trying to get me a picture of these trolls, and it ate their camera, so they pulled its film out of its guts.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody could get me to like this movie, Matt, you're the guy. So maybe I'll give it another chance.
I think I'm seeing the.
I'm
coming around. He's softening towards. Look, he's got milk in that.
Yeah, you're convincing me.
Is this? Look, he throws powdered milk in that fan.
Powdered milk doesn't do anything to them.
It makes them stronger.
Yeah. Powdered milk is nothing like milk.
This is great too. It's Ernest's like a Canadian guy. He pours
right. It's his red green.
His red green character.
I like this lady. That character is maybe my favorite out of the. I was enjoying seeing her again.
I'm a mega fan of soft, squishy neck braces. I love those. I think they're like the funniest.
I think you wore one in an episode of Total Recall.
I did.
That was after that guy threw a chair in your face.
I got hit with that chair. I think was it Lou Ferrigno
got angry at last year's Total Recall Christmas party and threw a chair.
Oh my God, that party was wild, dude! I can't wait.
Yeah, we're gonna.
The holidays are almost here, so
I'll have to give it another watch.
look at this. It's got a.
I had to
How you
watch.
not liking this?
I had to watch the Attack of the Clones twice to make sure if I hated it or not.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll have to watch this a second time to make double sure.
Yeah, there he is, Ernest. Then they got this guy looks like Ted DiBiase.
Yeah, he's George Reeves as Hercules, or Steve Reeves as Hercules. So yeah, you've been watching the Ernest Scared Stupid episode of the Total Recall Show. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics, and Fantastic Four Grand Design.
I'm Matt Zeoli.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Tom Scioli or on Instagram at Tom_Scioli.
Follow me on Instagram at cinema_tomb.
And check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Tom Scioli, and see different comics and drawings I've been working on.
You can follow the show on Instagram at total_recall_show.
And happy Halloween, everybody.
Happy Halloween.